What's up, everyone? This is Zach on the Abide by Reality YouTube channel, and I'm here to bring you a video that I'm finally glad that I'm making. As you already know, the football season has technically started with preseason, and now you know what that means. That means fantasy football. I've been a big fan of doing fantasy football. I actually won back-to-back leagues like 5 years ago, and they were big money leagues. They were like for 500 and 1,000 for the other one. So, whenever it comes to fantasy football, I know for the most part what to draft, who to draft, and just I've been having good luck with my teams. Maybe not recently because I haven't really dabbled in it as much, but I always have fun doing it with drafting a good team, having fun with friends, and especially whenever I play with like newcomers or people that are experts. It's always a good fun mix to have. But today, I'm gonna bring you some sleepers. I'm gonna bring you some wide receivers that I've been looking at who aren't getting that much love in the fantasy drafts. And let me get right into it. Just to give a disclaimer about this video, I usually use ESPN to do my fantasy leagues whenever it comes to sports. So these ADPs, which mean average draft position, might be different from other ones like Yahoo and NFL.com. So just keep that in mind. My first wide receiver sleeper will be Darnell Mooney, and he has an ADP of 151. I've been hearing a lot about Mooney, not just from Bears fans, but just a bunch of fans in general. They think he'll take a big step this year, and maybe not a big of a step. Like, I don't think he's going to take that big of a step like people say, but I think he could be a good pick in the later rounds. I would say maybe like 13th, 14th pick, like a late round pick. Of course, I don't think Andy Dalton's the answer in Chicago, of course not. But if Justin Fields comes in and plays with Mooney, I could see him doing pretty good. Mooney had 600 yards last year, and yeah, he did pretty good as a rookie. So I think he has the potential to be a good wide receiver too, behind Allen Robinson. But the thing is, I wouldn't start him with Andy Dalton there. So this is like a sleeper pick that you shouldn't be forced to make in the mid rounds. Just wait until the late rounds to get him. The next sleeper could be seen as biased since I'm a Colts fan, but I gotta go Paris Campbell, and his ADP is 164. So he was drafted in 2019. He was a second round pick for us, and he hasn't been able to stay on the field that much. Last year in week 1, he looked promising, but then he went down in week 2. And it was sad to see because I saw potential in that week 1 game. And I even had him as a sleeper last year. But this year, and that's a big if he can stay healthy, then you have to pick him with a later round pick. Like I would say 14th or 15th round. And I think the big misconception with Paris Campbell is that he's a deep threat. He is a fast guy, but even whenever he was at Ohio State, he was known as being a short route threat, then turning that into like a big play. And that's what the Colts need, especially with Wentz out. And if Eason does start, he has to make quick throws. And I don't think they're going to pass 30 or 40 times a game. I think, of course, they're going to be mostly running with Jonathan Taylor. But Paris Campbell, he can be effective in a West Coast short passing kind of offense. So I like a late round flyer on him. I would say this next sleeper is a deep sleeper, and I'm going to go with the Bills wide receiver Gabriel Davis. And I know the Bills have Stephon Diggs, they have Beasley, they also added Emmanuel Sanders. So they have a bunch of weapons already. The thing is, the Bills were the second heaviest pass team last year. And of course, injuries happen. They do. And Gabriel Davis, he played a lot because he benefited from John Brown's injury last year. And I could see him having some good games this year. I think he's a great flyer. His ADP is 170, so that means he's mostly going undrafted. But with your last pick in the draft, you could do worse with this pick. And I think he was a rookie last year, I believe. And I think, to me, it's a nice pick. You have Josh Allen with the new contract, and the Bills are their offense. They're out to kill this year. So Gabriel Davis, I would justify a maybe not the last pick, but second last pick. But you draft him there. I would like to go to potentially the worst team of 2021, and understandably why. Their quarterback was in controversy. He might be traded, and their team is just down bad. And I'm talking about the Texans. And who on the Texans do I have a high regard for? Maybe not a high regard, but I could see potential. I'm looking at Texans wide receiver Nico Collins, and his ADP is 170, so that means he's not getting drafted a lot. But I actually like this pick. Maybe not for a late flyer. You could probably do that, but the Texans, they got rid of Randall Cobb. I know they brought in another receiver, Anthony Miller from the Bears, I believe. But other than that, man, their weapons are lacking. So I see the rookie from Michigan. I can see him getting potentially, like, he would be like a stash for me. He'll get a lot of play time later because I know that the Texans are going to be down a lot whenever it comes to the game, and they'll have to pass a lot. They won't have that much, room to run. So they're going to bring in their younger receivers to play, and they're going to probably have Nico Collins. They're taking a lot of first team snaps because, let's face it, they don't have any shot of winning. They're going to play their younger players. So I can see Nico Collins. He could go off maybe for like a few games, just like out of nowhere. The last wide receiver sleeper I have in this video comes out of left field, and he has probably the craziest name I've seen in football. And it's Falcons wide receiver Olamide Zaccheaus, 170 ADP. And hopefully I said his name right. I think I did. But we've seen that the Falcons addressed tight end, and they got Kyle Pitts, and they still have Calvin Ridley. They lost Julio Jones in a trade to the Titans this offseason, and the Falcons are going to pass the ball a lot just like the Texans, and they need someone else who can get volume. I don't think just throwing to Ridley all the time, it could work. Of course, he'll get volume, but I think Zaccheaus, he'll be there, he'll be open. And I've seen in training camp that the coaches in Atlanta actually have been impressed with Zaccheaus' play. So I could see him maybe not going off like the other wide receivers that I have in my sleepers, but I think he'll have consistent games where he could be warranted like maybe not like a flyer in the draft, but maybe a waiver wire pickup, because I think he can be consistent. I think he can get the targets in that offense, because the Falcons, they're going to be, I believe they're going to be losing most of their games, so they'll need a third option in that offense. This concludes today's video, and let me know, who are your sleepers that I didn't mention at wide receiver? What do you think of my sleepers? Do you think they'll be good, or do you think I'm just talking a bunch of bullshit? And give me other topics that you want me to talk about. I'm probably going to go into more sleepers at different positions. I just wanted to cover wide receivers today. But anyways, guys, that's the end of the video. And y'all have a good one. Don't forget to abide by reality.